Well, I say this with all due respect, no offense, and I'm still kind of waking up. I've been up for a few hours, but still kind of waking up. And I am doing this, without any bullet points or, scripts to go off of. But, we all tried to tell the IWC and the YWC, us with common sense, us that have been fans for a very long time, we told them, look, you might be angry, you might have visceralness in your tone, you might take it a little too far, maybe too extremely far, with sending death threats and everything to Ava Raine, Simone Johnson, Rock's daughter. You might do all that, which is totally wrong, and I hope those, that did that, face punishment for what they did. But we told you guys, be patient. We told you guys, hold up. Don't let your negativity run away with your mouth or run away with your fingers. And guess what? Yesterday, whether or not you believe it was a work from the get-go, whether or not you believe they had to pivot shift from the original plans, yesterday at that press event in Las Vegas, they gave you a reason to tune in to WWE programming from here or from then and tonight all the way up to WrestleMania. They gave you a reason. They gave you a reason to tune in because now you're gonna wonder, okay, where do we go from here? What twists, what turns, what situations, scenarios, and everything are we going to see as we get close to WrestleMania 40? And there's a lot of possibilities that they can go with. I mean, the one thing about wrestling, especially when it comes to those that have been in the ring, those that have been in the ring, they love to revisit old storylines, even those storylines that they were part of. I mean, take a look at NXT and NXT Vengeance Day. There's similarities, if not, certain elements taken, from when, Shawn Michaels turned on Marty Jannetty, that they're incorporating to the whole Carmelo Hayes situation, when it involves what he did to Trick Williams at the end of Vengeance Day and why he did it. So he likes to throw in little elements here and there, the wrestlers, that is, like Shawn Michaels. So when you look at what's going on here, with Rock and Cody and Triple H and Nick Khan and Roman, Ari Emanuel to an extent, you can definitely see that they're going to be throwing in some very familiar elements, but with a twist. First of all, they're not hiding that Rock is part of the board. They're not hiding that. But what they can throw in as a twist is that, yeah, Rock is part of the board, but he's also a contracted talent, which means anytime he's in the ring or at a event like the press event and everything, he has no real power. Triple H does, Nick Khan does. But outside of that, he's above them. So they can play into that kind of scenario. They can do that. And that would make things interesting. The other thing as well is they could really take a page out of another playbook, another storyline that they did about a decade ago, or a little over a decade ago, I should say, about what would it be, like 15 years ago? They could take a page out of that playbook and say, hey, Cody, we understand, we get it, there's nothing we can really do to change it, but there is something we can do to prevent it. And then maybe you have Rock say, every time you're in a match, your title shot's on the line. And if you lose, your match with Roman is, null and void, and me and Roman become the main event, and you don't go to WrestleMania. They could do that. And that would make things interesting because now you'll be tuning into Raw, you'll be tuning into SmackDown, or wherever Cody's going to be, and watching and basically keeping an eye on whether or not he's going to be able to beat whatever opponent he faces. And basically maybe you have Rock and Roman raise the stakes. Like, okay, you beat that guy, here's your next guy. I mean, imagine if they decide, like, one of the people that Cody has to face is Omos. That could, whether you like Omos or you don't, that can make it, that'll make people think, oh my gosh, Cody's got to beat this guy? Ain't no way it's going to happen. Cody's not going to WrestleMania. That makes things intriguing and that makes you want to tune in and invest in seeing whether or not he can topple this giant, if you will. Same with Solo. Can he beat Solo, who's basically Umaga Jr., if you will? Can he do that? Can he beat, maybe a Drew McIntyre that he has to face? Maybe with rules of no disqualification, or it's tribal combat, or whatever. There's different ways that they can make things interesting going forward to keep you invested, with the twists and turns they can go with. The other thing, too, is if they're still determined to do Rock and Roman this year, there is speculation on fans' behalf. Again, nothing confirmed yet. Nothing confirmed, but it might be confirmed tonight. It might be confirmed next week. We don't know. But there is speculation we could get a Rock and Roman tag match against Rhodes and Rollins. And if that happens, there is the idea that when Rock is going for a tag after he's been in trouble a little bit, or basically been beaten down and everything, he's reaching for a tag. You can have the moment, as he's about to do that, where Roman just hops off the apron, goes over, gets his belt, and maybe says something to Rock along the lines of, "I see what's going on. I ain't stupid. I can tell what you're doing. I'm not falling for it." Or you can have him raise the belt and say, "I'm the real tribal chief. I'm the real head of the table. You're nothing." And then have him walk away. And Rock loses the match, by either being crossroad or rolled up. You could do that. And you could do that on night one of Mania, giving Rock a reason to come down to the ring the next night and cost, Roman the match against Cody. Or you could do that in Australia in 2 weeks in Perth, Elimination Chamber. And it gives you a whole month to build to not just Cody and Roman, but gives you a whole month to build to Rock and Roman. Because now Rock will see what everybody's been saying, that Roman's only about himself. He doesn't care about his family. He doesn't care about Jimmy. He doesn't care about Solo. That they're everything that Cody says they are. They're just hired guns, and nothing more. And that Roman is all about himself. And that he doesn't care overall about his family. He doesn't care about his family's lineage, if you will. And that it's just about himself. And, off to the races you go. If you want to do that in Perth. If you want to do something like that in Perth. Then again, you could have Rock say, "Okay, Cody, there's nothing I could do to, remove you from the match against my cousin, but I can add to it." And you can maybe have him say, "You know what? Maybe I'll be the special guest referee, and as soon as Roman gets the first pinfall, I'll just make it a quick 1, 2, 3, and that's over." Maybe you have him lean into that, lean into the fact that he'll screw Cody, but then give Cody the option of, "Hey, if you don't want that, remove yourself from the match. Let me insert myself." You could do that. You could play into that scenario and everything. Or you could have, Rock say, "You know what? In the past 2 decades, WrestleMania has always had a triple threat for the title in its main event. Well, guess what? We're going to do that here. We're going to have a triple threat, for the championship. But it's going to be a different kind of triple threat, because even though there has to be one winner, me and Roman are going to ensure that you're out of the equation when we decide who's the better man and who's the real tribal chief." In other words, indicate that for most of the match, they're going to turn it into a handicap match, beat down on Cody, and then go after each other. That's one way of doing it. You never know. But the point I'm getting at is, whether you liked how this came about, and I think we can all agree that yes, they did fumble the ball in its execution, they have recovered very nicely. They've recovered very, very smoothly, in my opinion. Are there still some hitches and, potholes here and there, in the process, in the recovery process? Yes, there is. There's no denying that. But when you get down to it, it is going to get more eyes on the product. There's no doubt. It's going to get more eyes to tune in and watch WrestleMania. It's going to make whatever tickets are left over to be sold out. It's going to get a lot of mainstream coverage. It really is. And that's what WWE wants right now. And mostly, yes, I will agree, it does pivot, and that's a key word a lot of people like to use, nowadays in the past week. It does pivot, all the negativity press that they're getting right now because of Vince McMahon. It is pivoting away from that. And, and if you're someone like Ari Emanuel, that has to be, that has to be some great news to hear. That has to be some, great news to hear. And, while you're, watching things go down, like you're trusting this man you just brought in as part of your board of directors to basically, set the tone for the first WrestleMania under your belt, which is a 10-year anniversary WrestleMania. You're basically, bringing this guy in to set the tone for it, to kind of, give off that impression of, hey, this is always going to be the big event for you guys every year. You have to be, sitting high in your chair in your office being like, yeah, I made the right choice bringing Dwayne in. I made the right choice. So it's good. So for him, it's like us, it's going to be an interesting ride to see exactly where they take us in the next 2 months, if you will, the next 1 month and a half, I should say, in the next month and a half. But again, let this be a lesson. In closing, let this be a lesson to the IWC, the YWC, the overall fan, hardcore or not. Don't let your visceralness, your negativity run away with your mouth or your fingers before the whole thing plays out. Because if not, you're going to look foolish and you're going to look like, you have egg on your face. And that's all I'm going to say. But let me know what your thoughts are on this outcome from yesterday. And I am